The real reason you don't have what you want. You don't have what you want, not because the world is unfair, not because your circumstances are cursed, not because the stars have conspired against you. You don't have what you want because you haven't decided with every ounce of your being that it is already yours. The man who is hungry enough doesn't wonder if the food will come. He hunts until he has it. The woman who knows her value doesn't wait to be picked. She walks like she already owns the place. But most people, they hesitate. They fantasize. They whisper their desires like secrets they're ashamed of, hoping the universe will reward hesitation with abundance. It never does. You've been told to dream, but dreaming without discipline is delusion. Wanting without action is a slow death. And hoping without belief, that's the surest way to watch your life rot in the waiting room of potential. You don't have what you want because your mind is divided. One part of you wants it, the other part doubts it. One part reaches for more, the other whispers, "What if I'm not enough?" You can't serve two masters. You can't claim the life you want while obeying the fear that says you're not worthy of it. Look around. Every structure you admire, every skyscraper, every invention, every legacy was first built in the invisible blueprint of belief. Edison burned through 1,000 failures, not because he was lucky, but because he was convicted. Ford was mocked for building a car for the common man. Carnegie was born poor and had every reason to settle. But he didn't. These men were not born different. They simply burned the bridges behind them. There was no turning back. Their minds were one with their mission. That's what you lack. You're still entertaining escape routes. You still have a plan B. You still tell yourself, maybe if things line up, maybe if the timing is right, maybe if I get support. No, the world doesn't give what you want. It gives what you demand through relentless focus and ruthless execution. So the question isn't, what do you want? It's, have you truly claimed it with your life? You want wealth, but you fear discomfort. You want love, but you refuse vulnerability. You want clarity, but you stay in chaos. You want respect, but you still tolerate mediocrity from yourself. The real reason you don't have what you want, you're still negotiating with your limitations. No one gets what they want by being polite with their fears. You must destroy the voice in your head that whispers, "Play it safe." That voice was built to protect you, not to free you. It was designed by your past, not by your future. You must become unreasonable with your old patterns. You must become obsessed with the truth that the life you want doesn't respond to comfort. It responds to courage. What are you willing to burn? Because make no mistake, something must die for something greater to be born. Old habits, old beliefs, old relationships, even old versions of you. The life you're after is not just sitting behind a locked door. It's protected by the sacrifices you're afraid to make. And until you become the version of you who is willing to walk through fire, you will keep circling the life you could have had. You don't need more time. You need more truth. Everything changes when you stop trying to improve your life from the outside in and start shaping it from the inside out. You don't need a new strategy. You need a new standard. And standards are not set by what you say you want. They're revealed by what you tolerate, what you allow to continue, what you excuse in yourself. Do you wake up when the alarm goes off, or do you snooze it and lie to yourself that 5 more minutes won't hurt? Do you finish what you start, or do you stack half-built bridges that lead nowhere? Do you train your body, your mind, your craft, or do you numb your time with distractions and justify it with "I'm tired"? That's where your future is being built, in those silent decisions no one else sees. That's the battlefield where identity is won or lost. The person you're meant to become, they don't wait for motivation. They are governed by purpose. They move with precision. They speak with clarity. They walk into rooms with presence, not because they're faking it, but because they've earned it. Every late night when you wanted to quit but didn't, that's where character was built. Every early morning when the bed begged you to stay, but you chose mission over mood, that's when you rose. Not just in routine, in identity. because becoming isn't something that happens in a moment. It's not found in some big opportunity or breakthrough. It's in the grind, the boring, the mundane, the days you wanted to disappear but showed up anyway. You think kings are born in light, they're born in the dark, in silence, in rejection, in failure after failure, when they still chose to keep going. Do not underestimate how powerful you become when you consistently do what others avoid. That's what makes you rare. That's what builds the kind of internal gravity that pulls opportunity toward you. Not because you begged for it, because you became the kind of person who attracts it. You don't chase success. You build a version of yourself so aligned, so undeniable, that success has no choice but to show up. You think Tesla built his empire by waiting for the right mood? He slept in his lab. He worked through illness. He thought in years, not minutes. He didn't just act like a genius. He lived it day in, day out, without apology. You want to become the person you're meant to be? Then stop negotiating with your old self. That version of you, the one who settled, who feared, who avoided hard things, they don't get a vote anymore. You've outgrown them. The mind that got you here won't get you there. The habits that kept you safe won't make you strong. The identity that helped you survive won't help you thrive. So burn the script, rewrite the rules, and stop showing up like you're half committed to your own life. Because the future belongs to the one who acts like they've already claimed it, who walks with the fire of certainty, who makes decisions with conviction, not convenience, who builds without applause, trains without needing validation, creates without asking permission. That's what makes you dangerous. Not your talent, your standards, your consistency, your identity, forged, tested, refined. Every step forward from this moment must say, I already am the person I was born to become. Because once you live from that place, the world has no choice but to respond. You already know who you're supposed to be. You feel it in your gut. Not the version of you that wakes up tired, distracted, and doubtful. Not the version that second guesses, apologizes for dreaming, or waits for someone to give permission. No, deeper than all that, there is a version of you that is clear, powerful, disciplined, unstoppable. And the reason you feel that inner tension, it's because you're not acting like them yet. You're still trying to solve future problems with old patterns, still speaking like the old you, thinking like the version that failed, moving like the version that's waiting. But the future doesn't belong to the one who waits. It belongs to the one who becomes. The world doesn't give you what you deserve. It gives you what you match. Your habits, your words, your energy, they broadcast who you are, not who you wish to be, not who you used to be, who you are right now, in this moment. And if who you are is still thinking small, still hoping instead of building, still wishing instead of working, the world reflects that back, not to punish you, but to wake you up. The game changed the moment you realize this. You don't become successful and then act like that person. You act like that person and then you become successful, not the other way around. That means showing up before you feel ready, speaking with clarity before you have proof, moving with intention before you have results, because belief is a discipline, not a mood. Think of Lincoln. He didn't wait to feel powerful. He spoke words that shaped nations even when his own voice trembled. Carnegie didn't wait to feel worthy of wealth. He moved through steel and smoke with a vision so bold it made kings nervous. Edison didn't wait for perfect conditions. He failed his way forward until the darkness surrendered. What if you stopped negotiating with fear, stopped worshiping your limitations, stopped telling yourself stories that were written by weaker versions of you? What if, starting today, you acted like the person you're meant to become, not pretend, not fake, but fully embody, with discipline, with fire, with absolute command? Because the greatest transformation you'll ever experience is not when your bank account changes. It's when your identity changes. And identity is not found, It's forged through daily decisions, through relentless action, through the refusal to let your circumstances write your destiny. You've waited long enough. You've collected enough quotes. You've watched enough videos, heard enough sermons, journaled enough dreams. Now is the time to become. Not tomorrow, not when you have more clarity, not when you feel more confident. Confidence isn't a prerequisite, it's a byproduct. And it only comes to the one bold enough to act before they feel ready. Every time you take aligned action, you cast a vote for your future self. Every time you show up with discipline, you reinforce the identity you're building. And every time you refuse to settle, the universe takes note. But if you keep acting like the version of you that gave up, if you keep repeating the habits of the version that doubted, if you keep reacting like the version that feared everything, then you stay there. You don't grow into your future, you decay into your past. That's the quiet tragedy of most lives. They had greatness inside them, but they never acted like it. Clarity is the first weapon. You cannot hit a target you cannot see, and yet most people stumble through life with fogged up vision, chasing shadows, following crowds, obeying the script they never wrote. They chase money without a mission. They chase validation without values. And in the end, they lose both. If you want to be part of the 3%, you must become obsessed, not with results, but with direction. Ask yourself, not what do I want today, but what must I build for the next 10 years? What legacy must I carve with my life? Not what job pays the most, but what work awakens me. Because when your vision is clear, decisions become easy. Distractions lose their power. Time becomes a weapon, not a burden. And you move through life with the force of a man or woman on a mission. Henry Ford didn't ask what was possible. He asked what was necessary. Lincoln didn't ask for approval. He asked what was right. Walt Disney was laughed out of multiple studios, fired for lacking imagination, and yet he imagined a world that didn't exist and built it anyway. That's the kind of clarity the 3% live with. Not a clarity based on what's safe, but on what's necessary. Necessary for their purpose, necessary for their calling, necessary for the man or woman they were born to become. But clarity means nothing without action. Ideas are cheap. Everyone has them. Execution is the currency of success. And here's where 97% fail again. They wait for motivation. They wait until they feel ready. They confuse emotion with commitment. They pray for the mood instead of training the muscle. Discipline is not about how you feel. It's about who you decide to be, over and over and over again. When it's boring, when it's hard, when it's lonely, when no one claps, that's the forge where winners are made, motivation whispers, discipline commands, and that's what separates those who wish from those who win. You think Carnegie felt like getting up? You've been taught to wait, to be patient, to trust the process. But most people confuse waiting with wasting. They think watching motivational videos is progress. They confuse planning with movement. They talk about what they want like it's on layaway, as if one day it will magically arrive because they've suffered enough to deserve it. But life does not hand out prizes for pain alone. It rewards the ones who use their pain, who weaponize it, who stand in the ashes of their past and say, "This will not be the end of my story." There is a violent clarity that comes when you stop lying to yourself, when you finally admit, "I've been passive, I've been distracted, I've been trying to live like I can cheat the grind and still win big." And in that moment, when you look in the mirror and confront the gap between who you are and who you could be, that's where the real transformation begins. Most people avoid that mirror. They'd rather blame their environment than their effort. But deep down, you know it. The enemy is not outside you. It's not the economy. It's not your boss. It's not your parents. The enemy is internal. It's the part of you that flinches when things get hard. The part that says, maybe tomorrow, every time your destiny demands right now. Until you kill that voice, you will live a life of excuses disguised as logic. Success is not mystical, it's mechanical. You don't need to feel ready, You need to move. You need to create momentum so massive that doubt no longer has oxygen to breathe. The law of inertia doesn't just apply to physics, it applies to people. Once you get moving, the resistance weakens. Once you break the chains of hesitation, you realize how much of your fear was imaginary. But first, you must commit fully, irrationally, entirely to a direction. That's what separates the average from the exceptional, the ability to commit when there are no guarantees, the willingness to walk in faith while the ground is still forming beneath your feet. Think of every great leader, every titan of history. They were not fortune tellers. They didn't act because they knew it would work. They acted because not acting would have meant spiritual death. Lincoln didn't wait to feel confident. He walked through war with trembling hands. Mandela didn't wait to be empowered. He created power through suffering. Oprah wasn't handed a stage. She built it in the silence when no one clapped. What about you? What are you building in silence? Or are you still waiting for applause before you begin? The real reason you don't have what you want is because you're still trying to fit transformation into your comfort zone. You want to upgrade your life without outgrowing your patterns, but you cannot plant seeds of greatness in soil poisoned by excuses. You cannot become who you were born to be while still coddling the weaker version of yourself. Your future is watching. It's waiting, but it won't wait forever. There comes a point, Jesus, and maybe this is it, where you must decide, will I continue living the same year on repeat, calling it a life, or will I burn the script, break the pattern, and write something legendary? Because no one is coming to save you. No mentor, no partner, no stroke of luck will deliver you. You must become your own rescue mission. You must force your mind to obey your vision.